What is up, everyone, and welcome back to another video. And in this video, we're talking about another prospect. Now, I was trying to decide how I want to do this. If you guys would rather see a top 5, I can give that to you. I was kind of working on a big board, but I was like, I really need to lock in player by player. I can't make a big board if I don't know every single player, their pros and cons, why they would fit the lines exactly. Like, I can't just know little pieces about them. I need to really know these players. So we do a breakdown on these players. Now, I did that video on Tua Tagovailoa with some film, and we just watched the games. Here, I'm not only going to be showing you guys some game footage, but I'm also going to be showing you guys some things that he does well. We talked about his pros, talking about his cons, why he fits lines, what he doesn't do well, what he does well, and really just talking about how I could where I would draft him at, whether or not this would be a good player for the Detroit Lions, and just stuff like that. But also showing you guys a couple of plays, that way you guys can really see what I'm saying. Hopefully we don't get copyrighted, but that'll be kind of the goal. So if you guys want to see more of these, make sure you comment below. We're going to try this one time because I think this will be really cool, and you guys can just give me any players you want. We can talk about them. So maybe we'll do more than one in a video. Maybe we can do like multiple players. We'll see. But we're going to start off today with Trevon Diggs, the cornerback out of Alabama. Now, Trevon Diggs is a guy that I've been really talking about a lot recently. Not really talking about, I would say I've been really focusing on a lot recently. Haven't really talked about Trevon Diggs. I know cornerback is in need, and a lot of people talk about Jeffrey Okudah, but there's really not a lot of cornerbacks that we talk about past that, right? We kind of just take players, and I feel like I should really break down who I want, what they could do well. And Trevon Diggs is one of those guys that I feel like I've just been kind of missing for a while. I don't know why I haven't really paid a lot of attention to Trevon Diggs. I mean, I focused on a lot of mid-round guys. Diggs really hasn't been a guy that I focused on. So I was like, all right, let's just do a video on this because recently I've been really diving into him, just watching a lot of his stuff. I've also did some Jeff Gladney work today as well. So, I got that guy as well. We're just going to be focusing on Trevon Diggs. And he's a very interesting player for a few reasons. One reason is because his brother is actually Stefon Diggs, the wide receiver of the Minnesota Vikings. That's kind of cool. Well, not Minnesota Vikings. Actually, now he's a Buffalo Bill. I forgot about that. Okay, so yeah, he's a Buffalo Bill now. And in his early years, that plays at Alabama, and in his early years, he was not only a cornerback, but he's also a wide receiver and a kick and punt returner. So he did multiple things, kind of like a Jabril Peppers. He doesn't really do that much anymore, but coming into Alabama, his first year, he was more of a wide receiver. They moved him to corner and actually worked out pretty well, but you can tell he has very limited experience. Like, he doesn't have a lot of experience playing that cornerback spot. I think it's just over 700 total snaps at the cornerback position. The experience isn't there, and you'll see a lot of times where he has bonehead mistakes, but you also see a guy that he played at corner from the time he got there, and he had as many attempts as, some seniors do, and every single year. He might be the best cornerback in this draft. I mean, he would be up there with Jeffrey Okudah probably if he didn't have that time where he was just a wide receiver and then he kind of transitioned to cornerback, okay? So if he had more, I think if he had more experience, he could be even higher. But that's where he's very interesting because the potential is there. However, there's also some plays that it's like, man, you got to clean that up. Like, he's not polished in a few areas. So we're going to be talking about those. Like I said, very big cornerback, 6'2", 200 pounds. That's the ideal size when I look at guys for the Detroit Lions. When you look at the Lions cornerbacks, the Lions usually don't grab outside cornerbacks under 6 foot. I've kind of looked at that before just to kind of, keep in mind what they actually look for. I think Amani's 6'1". I think he's 6'1". Usually they don't go with super light guys either. So, they want guys with some muscle that are a little bit, can tackle a little bit better. And I think this guy, he's not a great tackler, but he tries, and he's very competitive. So I feel like he'll hit somebody. Like, he's got that in him, all right? So he's got the size that I think Matt Patricia's looking for. The only guy under 6 foot, I think, at the cornerback group right now is Justin Coleman, and that's because he is our slot. I mean, Darryl Roberts was 6 foot, Desmond Trufant. So we're looking for some size for outside cornerback, and he definitely has that. I'll talk about a few pros and cons, and then we'll watch some film so I can kind of back up and show you guys what I'm really talking about. So first pro is his size. Like I mentioned before, like I just mentioned, size is huge when it comes to Matt Patricia, not only in linebackers, but also in cornerbacks, okay? Many positions he looks at size, and that's something that the Lions really focus on, and Bob Quinn, when it comes to the draft. So size is a very big thing, and I think he has the ideal size for the Detroit Lions after looking for an outside cornerback. If they're not, going to rock with Amani and they want to go early outside cornerback, he has the ideal size to make it work. He's also a very, very big press cornerback. Now, he has played a little bit of zone at Alabama, but he's very much so a press cornerback. I mean, a lot of these guys have been looking at are press cornerbacks. That's the only cornerbacks I really look at are man-to-man. If you're not playing man at your college, which most colleges do, if you're just playing zone, you usually don't spend a lot of time there because we don't do that. So what the heck's the point? A guy like this is a guy that's not afraid to press up, and he'll play a lot of man-to-man. Now, like I talked about, I watched Jeff Gladney. That dude presses like crazy. I mean, that guy will get this close to the line of scrimmage. It's insane, and he's like right up on him. Sometimes it doesn't work well, but he definitely trusts his abilities. So does Trevon Diggs. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does, you'll see he'll adjust. Sometimes he backs up a little bit. Sometimes he's way up on him, kind of like a sleigh. And yeah, so I think he fits in the defense. Schematically, I think he would fit in the defense. He's a very heady player. He has very good ball instincts. He's a ball hawk. He's always looking to make a big play, and he's very opportunistic in that way. He doesn't always result in the big play. Sometimes it results in a big play for the other team. Like maybe you get burnt, or maybe, you know, the wide receiver makes you kind of like dumb, you like fall over, which I've definitely seen. That's why I brought that up out of LSU. Jamar Chase kind of did that to him. So sometimes, you know, getting all up there and trying to be an opportunistic and ball hog doesn't work out. It actually works out for the other team. But he does try it a lot. Sometimes he'll get called for pass interference, stuff like that. These are his pros, remember that. So he's a heady ball hog kind of guy. Like I said, he has that wide receiver experience, which I actually think definitely helps him. When you watch him, he seems, you know, every once in a while you see those instincts of being a wide receiver. He kind of runs the route sometimes, like he knows what the route is. He may know. So I think that helps him in guessing sometimes, and he does try to guess like a wide receiver. He's very physical. So I thought I would point that out. I don't think he's the best tackler. He's a very physical corner, though. And you'll see that he's very, very handsy. That's actually one of his cons. And he's definitely willing, like I said, to jump routes and try to make big plays. Now, looking at his cons, he can get burned on a lot of double moves trying to jump and make a play. His makeup speed is kind of lacking. I don't think it's as bad as people give him credit for, but it's not great. He's not the best zone player. I feel like sometimes he makes big plays. Other times he's completely lost. Like he'll go cover the wrong guy and the guy's just wide open. So he wouldn't be great in zone, but again, we don't play zone, so that's good. Very grabby. This is a guy, like I said, that has a potential, and he makes a lot of big plays. Also makes a lot of bad mistakes when it comes to pass interference, and that's a huge red flag when you look at cornerbacks. Very, very grabby downfield, so definitely something to concern on. Not even downfield, some intermediate routes he'll grab a lot, and you'll see a couple of PIs that I have here. I think I at least have one pass interference call on here, but he has the potential. He's just not polished. And let's look at some of the clips that I have saved. So let's get started. All right, this is where you're going to see how handsy he is. You can see he's already got his hands right up on the wide receiver. He does pretty well looking back to the quarterback, but he's a very handsy guy, and that was a really good catch right there. So, you know, the wide receiver got him that time, but trust me, he will get him back. And if we just go a little bit further, and I think it's right here, opportunistic and making big plays, this was probably the best play I've seen of him. Now, again, Duke's not very good, but for him to turn around, spot the ball, and make this play, he looked like a wide receiver there. He jumped the route. That was a very impressive play. And when you rewind it back, so you'll see he's right up on him. He's playing that press-to-press coverage, man-to-man coverage, and he's right with him all the way. He turns around, finds the ball, finds the quarterback. He's not face guarding. I hate when they just face guard. They can face guard for most of it, but then you got to get your head around so we don't get those PI calls. He's grabby. That's not good, but at least he gets his head around. That's what I was looking for, and he does. So that was a huge play there. This is where you kind of see that makeup speed. Now, I don't think it's as bad, but you'll see on the double moves as well that he kind of gets burnt here. It looks like he almost trips over his own feet. So he's at the top of your screen right here. Sorry, it's a little bit blurry for some reason. He's at the top of the screen, and you'll see it's kind of like a little push almost, and he kind of stumbles a little bit. And you can see how he gets a big gap, and you know, a better pass there. That's probably a huge play. It's not great. He couldn't really close that gap right away. Once you lost him right here, he wasn't able to close it right away. But he kind of stayed close enough where I think if he would have caught it, he would have been able to tackle him. He wouldn't have scored. So that was another one that I thought I would point out with the makeup speed. And it looks like they trade off wide receivers here. But he's always has his eye on the quarterback, and he's able to hop back and make a play on the ball. That wasn't a flag because he was making a play on the ball. But you'll see, like I said, that he switches off here. So he's actually, lined up on someone else, and he's able to back off. And he's just because he can see the ball. If he doesn't see the ball, that may not happen. And I don't even know if he knew the wide receiver was back there, but because he had his eye on the ball, he was able to get back there with the wide receiver. So I thought that was huge. And I always like those guys that can see the football and know where their man are. Sometimes he doesn't know where his man is, but he can see the football, and that's great. This is where I think the wide receiver experience comes into play. Like a guy that looks like he knows what it means to be a wide receiver, this is exactly what that is. This guy looks like he's playing wide receiver on this play. So deep ball, and look where he is. Look where he's positioned. He's watching the ball the whole time. He knows where a wide receiver is because he's behind him. Doesn't really matter at that point, because if you know where the ball is, honestly, it doesn't matter too much where your wide receiver is if you can get to the ball. And in this case, he's just watching the football. He's able to go under the football, and he plays wide receiver right there. And that was an incredible play. Now, yes, a Southern miss, but again, he played the football very well. And you'll see glimpses of that where you're very impressed, and other times he gets lost. This is where I'm talking about when I talk about losing his player. So it looks like it's man-to-man here, and then when this guy comes over, I'm not sure. There's definitely a miscommunication here. I'm not sure what happens, but basically they both come down and try to take this guy away, and no one takes the wide receiver over top. And it looks like it was his responsibility because he backs up like, oh, snap, I forgot. and then he was able to get there late. But I think that's experience. That's being a young player, and I think that's something you're going to get. If you want Trevon Diggs and you want that upside potential, you also have to know that it comes with a young player that needs some more time. And I think this is why this could be a guy that could work out, because if he's not ready right away, Amani could be the guy to step in and be your starter. So, but you can see he's a little bit grabby, and it's not even a deep route. But, he gets kind of burnt on the turnaround, so he grabs the jersey and he jumps the route. Now, he's excited like he had a pick six, but obviously he grabbed the jersey. So, handsy for sure, that's something. But I think handsy comes from lack of experience, because, you get burnt sometimes and you don't exactly know what to do, so you just grab. So, that's what I think that is. And boom, jumping the route. And that's huge. He's a ball hawk. He's a guy that can see the football. He's definitely watching the football the whole way, right? He's going there and he sees the football last second. He's able to make a play on it. That's huge. That's big stuff. And that's one thing that I see from him that not a lot of cornerbacks have. And that gives me the hope that this guy could be a very good player in the NFL at some point. So definitely some risk reward, right? You're getting a guy that's aggressive. He's competitive as heck. This next clip you're going to see is incredibly competitive. He was playing against LSU, not having the best day. Definitely the lack of experience kicked in. I won't show you too much, but let's just say Jamar Chase was having a day. That was the play. So look, after he had a touchdown grab already. Now he's going to line up on Jamar Chase, probably about a foot away from the line of scrimmage. This man is up on him. Look at that. Right off the snap, he just pushes him. You could tell he's a little upset, I think. And right there, he's kind of just shrugged off, falls, and he gets beat deep. So, the lack of experience definitely got frustrated, but the competitive nature is there. And this is that dude that has the high ceiling, but also that guy that I don't know if he's going to be ready year one. I don't know, maybe not right away year one, maybe like midway through the season, kind of like Amani. I think that could be this player a little bit, and that's good because we do have Amani. And I think the ceiling may be higher than a lot of other corners. Like if you get Okudah, you're not expecting it a guy that's handsy. You shouldn't, right? You should get a guy that can start with day one. This guy may not be able to. However, you know that at some point, this guy could actually be the best cornerback in the class because he does have that ability to be a ball hog. So he's going to get some plays for you. Zalkazil would make you kind of mad at sometimes with PIs. Definitely think he's one of the most interesting players in this draft, and I would have no problem with taking him. I would not do it in the first round. In the second round, I wouldn't have a problem with taking him, especially if you're able to trade back, acquire more picks. But I think at that point, Amani would be starting unless, he proves me wrong and he's not handsy in the NFL. So there's your breakdown of Trevon Diggs. If you guys want to see more, let me know who. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.